Um,
Okay.
okay, well, thank you for coming back for
Yeah.
another movie. So we were talking a lot about adaptations. It is another adaptation, and another thing that we were discussing is epics
Okay.
and things that like stand the test of time of epics. And now the jury may be out for the new Odyssey.
Okay.
Either you like it or you don't.
Uh-huh.
The measure of a good epic is if it stands the test of time. And
Sure.
it's not just like an instance or everything.
Uh-huh.
Now this one has stood the test of time.
Okay.
And now, is it because it's a good adaptation of this classic piece of literature, or not? But so, do you wanna guess just what author that wrote the original work?
Okay, well, here's the clues that I have so
Uh-huh.
far. It's an epic
Yes.
or something close to an epic.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
It's at least a longer.
an adaptation and something to do with red,
Yes.
previously said off camera.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, my brain's going Brothers Karamazov,
Mm.
but, well,
Now the book itself may not be considered an epic,
okay.
but it's a classic.
Is it Jane Eyre?
No, but
okay.
okay, so it's by Shakespeare.
Are we watching Macbeth right now?
No, we're not doing Macbeth.
Oh, that's
No.
where my brain went with
I
red.
know that makes sense. But would you like me to?
Please, by all
Okay,
means.
so it's by one of the most famous, not just Japanese directors, but one of the greatest directors ever that has done film, Akira Kurosawa.
Sure.
It's oh fudge, I put it back here. Okay, so I put in a little thing.
Oh, so the reveal is bigger.
The reveal is bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Ran.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ran is a adaptation of King Lear.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Now,
All right.
now, what's your experience with King Lear?
I have read it once
Okay.
and not super well,
Mm-hmm.
so I actually don't remember it that well.
So
It's a little out of my depth, I will say.
I just watched a 6-minute YouTube video.
Oh no! Oh no!
Because I couldn't remember. I have seen this movie.
Okay.
And there's an emphasis on colors of red for one, but then also I believe it's blue, and then also yellow, and a lot of greens. So really just the primary colors. Now, just a little. Now, what do you know of Akira Kurosawa?
Not very much. I've seen Seven Samurai.
Okay.
But I don't know that I've seen anything else that's him.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm glad. Well,
that's about it.
I'll do.
I
my
know
little
you're a
spiel.
big fan.
Yeah. So Akira Kurosawa. Oh yeah. So here's the
Sorry.
thing. Okay. So.
Never knew this was here. By
Yeah.
the way.
So yeah.
Did you know this was here? Okay.
So
Talking to our sound guy.
Akira Kurosawa. I mean, I don't know if you can really hear this, but or see this really, but he really one of his most famous works is Rashomon, which really made its own sort of a genre of movies. So really, you may have heard like the Rashomon effect, or it's basically just a story structure that from multiple different perspectives of like the same events. So this is about like a murder that happened, and you have like the interpretation of a robber, the woman that was like whose husband was killed, and then like a seance of like the dead guy, and it's an interesting sort of thing. And yeah, but it's really interesting, and it's not even his best work, but it's one of the things.
Yeah,
that
I've
people
definitely heard of it, but I didn't know that it started the
Yeah.
multiple perspectives. That's cool.
And then he made a lot of samurai movies. Oh boy, I'm gonna butcher the name of these. Yojimbo and Sanjuro, and then Kagemusha, which I fell asleep in many years ago, so I should probably go over.
All of you, too.
But
I'm afraid.
then Hidden Fortress, which is the
Shamed is what I meant.
it is kind of shaped.
Anyway, sorry.
And then Hidden Fortress, which is the main inspiration for Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah, so maybe we need to go do that on May the 4th or something or other.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little while. and then Ikiru, which instead of being in the samurai setting, it's like a not modern day, but like the 50s, 60s Japan, and it's just like a simple movie. This is one of his best movies. I mean, some directors don't even have like a classic sort of thing. I mean, most directors don't really have like a classic movie or whatnot that like stands the test of time. But Akira Kurosawa, I mean, like he has like as Rashomon, Ikiru.
17. Yeah.
Honestly, like he has like multiple. Dreams was his last one. It's a little bit more out there. It literally is some of his dreams, but yeah, it's
He ran out of stuff to do.
the vibes are
all
great
right.
in it. But then, of course, Seven Samurai,
Right.
which has a huge. I have a huge appreciation in my heart for Seven Samurai. It was the movie that started kind of it all really for me. Of like seeing that movies can be made. That movies are an art form, and how we analyze great works of literature. Why don't we do that for movies as much? Now, there's a lot of things that we could go into on the reason for that, but
Sure.
I think the discussion should be there. But Ran, so Ran is another one of like his great works. It's a little bit of a longer one, so it's gonna be interesting. But what are some just what would you say that this movie needs to do for it to succeed as a good adaptation?
Well,
Yeah.
I think I think going into this, I'll probably be looking at it more as a movie than an adaptation, because I don't remember King Lear well enough. So I don't know. I think try to pull from like big broad themes wise. I think there's always like responsibility is a big one in King Lear of like duty and obligation, and that's just a big Shakespeare theme. But so yeah, so I'd say that, and I don't think Kurosawa will have any problem dealing with that theme, even just from seeing Seven Samurai. And I think also just like madness and I think all in all, I don't remember King Lear well enough to speak to how good of an adaptation it is
Fair enough.
necessarily. So we'll see.
And any just like
Should have warned me. I would have reread it.
No. Yeah, there's a lot of different movies I was thinking of for today, but I think it's kind of a topical sort of thing, especially as we keep on talking about just adaptations and then also
Sure.
just in epics as well a little bit. But any kind of expectations that you think that he's going to do that to adapt into this different setting? It's not set in Europe. It's set in Japan. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think so much of Shakespeare's like tragic heroes or villains, depending on how you look at it, relies on like a lot of it is like political discourse at the time, which is like I don't want to like diminish Shakespeare, because it's not just that, and he's dealing with a lot broader, bigger human themes as well. But a lot of it relies on the monarchy and the structure of government and those sorts of things. And so it'll be interesting to see how that translates into something rooted in more Japanese culture. But I think, again, like, why Shakespeare's so great is because he's touching on universal and human themes. And so I think it actually is very helpful to translate Shakespeare into a lot of different time periods and a lot of different cultures, because he writes so that's possible. and it helps bring the themes out a little bit more because you might not get stuck in the original setting. So I'll be interested to see that, and I'll be interested to see how much of Lear I start remembering as I watch it
that
too.
makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, because it's very muddled in my head. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of.
Well, great. Well, we'll see you after the movie. Okay, so we just finished Ron, which I was corrected if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
It's true. Our
not
sound
Ran.
guy is
Our
very
sound.
particular
Yeah.
about that.
Okay, so I do have a few questions and whatnot for
Sure.
the movie, but first, just like initial reactions of what you saw.
I liked it. It's definitely more things were coming back to me as far as like King Lear when I watched it, but and like there were a lot of similarities and a lot of differences that I caught and a lot that I'm sure I did not catch. So I think, but even the places where it differed from the play, it was still very Shakespearean. Like it was. I don't think that it's necessarily, like, I definitely don't think you have to have a completely rigid adaptation, especially with something like this that's not a one-to-one adaptation. The Buddhism kind of confused me, and I think there's a lot there that I probably don't catch or understand, and the ending especially kind of like nailed it home in a weird place. And it kind of goes into something that I don't think King Lear quite goes, or at least I didn't catch in King Lear the first time. So yeah, I did feel like it was a little long. Like I was like, okay, but what could still happen? And I don't know if that's a me problem of just I was tired or like.
So my favorite, one of my favorite movies is like 3 hours long, or very much different tone. But it's a long movie. Another one 4 hours long. I loved. I understand that some folks think it's long and whatnot. Called Yi Yi. That one's a great one.
Yeah.
But even though I love long movies, I felt that this was long too.
Okay.
It might have been just the time of day they were doing it. It just
it can
was
be
hard.
circumstance. I feel like it's sometimes circumstance, but sometimes it's just a pacing thing. But it's never actually the runtime that's the problem.
No.
Like you can watch 4 hours of television and not be bored. It's really just a pacing thing.
Yeah.
So because of the medium, it's tricky to write a 4 hour direct. It's tricky to make a 4 hour movie that doesn't have some sort of pacing issue that makes you go, I've been sitting here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's doable, but it's difficult. So I think that was something that I caught here was like, well, I'm enjoying this and I feel like I'm getting a lot from it. It felt long, and it could be circumstantial, but
yeah, I think part of it was, but I also did feel that I'm like, okay.
Did you feel that the first time watching it too?
To be honest, I think I might have fallen asleep.
Okay.
And it was also I started about the same time of day too, and I watched with my parents. They both fell asleep, but that's not really saying much. They fall asleep in most things we watch, but yeah, it did feel a bit long. But I mean, it's a gorgeous movie.
Oh.
The pace is just not. You just need to be prepared for like the pace of it.
There's a lot of things that feel like endings and aren't, and I think that's what it is. Is I kept being like, oh, we're almost there. Oh, we're almost there. So that might be a pacing issue, and that might just be it.
That makes sense.
Part of the movie is those kind of
that makes sense.
expectations.
Okay, well, into the original sort of questions. Everything's black and white now.
Written down.
I do. I am.
Wow.
Oh fudge! Wait a minute.
It's not on Spotify. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's not Spotify. It's not on Spotify. I wrote it in Discord because.
All right, because you can.
Yeah.
Why not?
I have a lot of potential ones, so it's like.
Oh wow.
We're not doing all of them.
Sure.
But it's
She's complaining about it being a long movie. That's like 20.
Yeah, I have like 90. So. Okay, so fate.
Yeah.
In this story. So, how does fate play a role in this story?
This was like a pop quiz.
Because
Did you
which-
watch it?
I think this kind of goes into the Buddhism thing as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Of like, what is Akira Kurosawa saying about fate?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, are in control of it or anything like that. In this, it's like we were in Ron. We're kind of a not a product, but it's like a. I may be a little bit tired, and how I'm explaining this is a little bit odd, but it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy sort of thing of like just like desire and greed, then you get the effects of that, really, of just like
get what you
it's
want.
self-destructive.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I don't know how much you remember of my high school senior thesis. 'Cause
I think
it was a while
I
ago.
genuinely actually do think about it a little bit. It connected with mine.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And the teacher saying, Ethan, don't go into tragedies. Don't,
That's being
don't-
covered.
Don't talk about that. Yeah.
Anyway, I wrote my high school thesis on whether or not Christians can write tragedies. And essentially what I talked about was the difference between a Greek tragedy, like Aeschylus, which is very, very much as no matter how hard you try to escape your fate comes for you. And it's like there's nothing you can do about it, no matter what kind of person you are. And like, this is the kind of world where good people kill their father and marry their mother and kill themselves and all that good stuff. And then
Wait,
you get
Aeschylus?
to
Aeschylus
Aeschylus wrote
Oh,
Oedipus, right? Aeschylus wrote Oedipus.
Oh, that okay.
Aeschylus is one of the Greek tragedians,
I thought you were saying.
and Oedipus
I
is
thought
the
you were
name
saying
of the play.
Oedipus.
Yeah, no.
I'm like,
I was referencing
wait.
Oedipus. I think Aeschylus wrote it. It doesn't matter.
I don't
But
know who
one
wrote
of them wrote it. Anyway,
Yeah.
but then whereas like this like sort of Christian tragedy would be more Shakespeare and Marlowe and stuff like that, where it's people are inherently broken and sinful, and so they cling to their flaws, and that they get 1,000 different moments of chances for redemption, and they keep rejecting it and choosing the thing that they want and can't let go of that is bad for them, like you were saying.
And now, the Japanese tragedy.
So now the Japanese tragedy,
And
and it's a little bit of both. It's,
yes, it is because I mean, do you think it's inherently because it's Shakespearean or like it's adapted from a Shakespeare play?
I think partially.
Probably.
You get
Probably.
that. What was really interesting to me at the end was you kind of got both of those theses like stated. You got when both Saburo and the Great Lord, I forget his name,
Yeah.
die at the end.
Yeah.
Spoilers, guys.
Spoilers for an
You get the jester and the like old advisor, and the jester is like presumably blaspheming Buddha and
Yeah.
talking about like, oh, the gods are
They
so
badger
bored
us.
that they love watching us weep, which is a very like Greek view of the gods. And then you get the advisor who's like, stop blaspheming, we do this to ourselves, and the gods are the ones who are weeping because we choose this over and over again, which is a very Christian view of it. And I think in that way, the question of fate is not a question of can you control it, can you not control it, but a question of who's controlling it. Or sorry, not who's controlling it, but like what kind of a being is it that is controlling it, basically. Whereas like in Greek tragedy, you have these vile gods that would be
Yeah.
awful to live
Yeah.
under, who are just playing with people. Whereas in a more Christian, and I don't know much about Buddhism, but I assume a Buddhist view, there's a much more all-powerful, benevolent God, And so then it's just goes back to the problem of evil and the question of like why does he give us this? Does he give us this free reign to ruin ourselves, and why so? And is he weeping when we do so? And all those sorts of good questions. So I think it is really interesting. I don't know that I know enough about Buddhism to see exactly what Kurosawa was doing, but I know enough about the way of the world and the nature of humanity to see that he's still touching on some of the things that Shakespeare was, which is like just our self-destructive nature, which is a lot, I think hits home a lot better.
Yeah, just universal themes from any sort of a culture. It may take a little bit of a different flavor here or there, but it's the same sort of things. It's, now another sort of thing in this movie is how distinct the colors are.
Yeah.
And it was very helpful because they really color coded like all the
names
different
weren't
brothers.
helping much, so the colors were.
Yeah. Each of the brothers had like a different color for their army, so you're like, oh, what army is this? And they have like red banners. It's like, yes, that is the second.
Probably helped them to not shoot the road.
Yeah, it's like, that makes sense. I wonder how accurate that actually was of like.
Oh, I think it's pretty accurate.
Because I would guess because everybody is armored very similarly.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wait, we don't want to shoot our.
The whole like, I mean, even like redcoats and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, you can tell the
you can
difference.
go,
It's helpful to know who the enemy is.
Color coding is a helpful thing.
Yeah. So.
In many
listen to us, U.S. military. Color
coding.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the coloring of this, so why do you think Kurosawa picked not just these colors, but such distinct colors and just like how vivid they were? Now, in all honesty, I might have turned on the Dolby Vivid setting on the TV, but still, it may make the colors
obvious
brighter.
it's a
It's a distinct thing.
Sure.
But why so distinctive these colors?
I think you'll be probably better at answering this question than I am, just because you're more of a visual guy than I am. But
I don't know why I see it.
I
do see.
But I think it definitely like. There's the obvious answer, which we talked about, which is it's just easier to follow along that way. I was saying earlier that King Lear, to my knowledge of what I've read, is one of the most complex Shakespeare plays. Like there's so much going on, and a lot of characters who are easily mixed up, and it's tricky. So it was helpful to have all the different colors and everything, and being able to be like, they're in this group and they're in this group. And I think that, like, I'm sure there's more symbolism with the colors going on than I realized. But then, I don't know. I'm sure he's doing more than I realized. But the two main things for me were, like, keeping track of who's who, and then also just, like very distinct personalities between the three brothers, which is accurate to the play. And just like all the different distinct like responses to the same event, and not only that, but to the same upbringing, to the same world. It was cool to have that sort of distinction, but I'm sure there's more symbols.
Before I kind of get into a little bit more of the colors, Audrey was kind of touching on one of the main differences between King Lear and Ron. But of that, instead of it being daughters in King Lear, it's actually sons in this one, and there's a reason for that. One of which is that Akira Kurosawa was King Lear wasn't the only inspiration that he had for this story. It was also for another Japanese like folk tale, not another. It was another inspiration that he had was from Japanese folk tale. Oh yes, the Japanese book. But
he got around.
He had this other inspiration, which I didn't really know what it was so much, but it was about like these fathers and sons sort of story, and then he
Okay.
then happened to find King Lear, which I'm like, how? I don't know how.
He
should-
got around, bro.
he
I'm
got
telling
around
you.
to- and he's like, I found this one story. I don't know how accurate of a story that was of like how of like he just happened to find it or whatnot, or how.
I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I don't know
It's-
like how.
King Lear is not difficult to find.
I
Like,
don't think so.
yeah.
I don't think so. The quick recap video that I started, I'm like, I want to have my own opinions on this.
Yeah.
It might have failed me on that information of like just like how.
I don't know. I guess
know.
I don't.
But anyways,
But anyway.
for a main difference, but then the colors, yeah. I loved that the sons were orange being yellow being the oldest, red being the middle
It's
child.
red, yellow.
No, red was the middle.
No, because he took his armor.
Yes, it was yellow armor. Yes.
Bro, I'm gonna fight
It
you
was.
on this.
Okay, well,
Be so
we,
honest.
we,
I
we,
think
may,
it's-
we may need to relook at it, but for the time being,
Irregardless.
but the point is, there are three suns, one yellow, one
Yeah.
red, one blue. We can discuss the order of
Yeah,
those
sure.
of the red and yellow
In the
another
box
time.
summary.
But anyways, the fact that I thought was interesting that it was red and yellow that he chose, and then blue is so distinct,
Mm.
and so it's. I mean, one of which is that it shows that the two brothers are kind of similar to each other. I mean, but the natural pick of if you want to have distinct sort of sons or like different colors is to have green. Why didn't he do green? And it was because of the landscape of this whole tale, and it's really, and the landscape and nature has a large role in this, and it becomes kind of a character of its own, and especially near the end when the king or the emperor, the
Great Lord.
the great lord, he
It's his proper title, thank you.
he's
Yep.
he's losing his sanity, and with that, he's now seeing things a little more clear on and then losing it in others, but. The theme of I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but the theme of just like the wise fool is a topic that comes up in Shakespeare, I know, but is that also in Greek stories as well?
Yeah, I mean,
Since now
Greek
you're
stories,
the
it's more
expert.
common to have.
Yeah, no, I don't know why we're.
Greek stories, it's more common to have, like, the blind prophesier, which we also kind of get in this.
We do get.
It's more obvious in King Lear than with that gouging out of the eyes, but but yeah, you get the blind prophesier is a very prominent Greek thing, and I like the wise fool less so, but it's interesting specifically in King Lear that usually Shakespeare's wise fools are like the jester, where they're like joking around, but they're actually saying something.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to have King Lear kind of shift into like he understands better when he's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting deal. Kind of on colors, but more onto the makeup. Now, I'm not an expert in makeup. I know, a real shocker. But how they should
Look it.
but how they showed the transformation of not King Lear, but of the emperor.
No, I'm forgetting it.
Emperor?
I said it like 10 minutes ago.
The
Great Lord or
the
something
Great Lord,
like
the Great Lord Emperor man,
Sure. Him.
and seeing his descent into like madness, and
That was really well done.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
And at the end he looks just ghastly.
Yeah.
And the only difference, I mean, like he's a bit more disheveled, sure. Maybe he doesn't have his hair up in the, I don't know the official thing, but like the little bun deal at the beginning.
Yeah.
But but like his face is paler. It's like darker, rings in his eyes. It's perhaps over the top. it fits very well, but it then goes into how into Japanese storytelling of kabuki plays, of like these heavy sort of makeup, maybe a little bit over the top, but that's on purpose. It's not supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to be well, I don't more of like the feeling of it, and like just like I was about to say the power of it, just like the
Which
just like the emphasis.
is like
Yeah.
all theater kind of finds its
Yeah.
roots there. Yeah, and so like thinking of this also with a bunch of Japanese heritage and also with the background of being pulled from Shakespeare, it's like theater necessitates going over the top
Yes.
for people to see and understand what's happening. So having it's really tricky to do that with a film though, because you're so up close and personal that it's not gonna resonate if it's this really over the top. So if you look at like early films that are derived from theater, it's like silent films especially, it is a lot of like over the top acting, and we've kind of like weaned off of that and done really subtle acting. So it is really interesting to see a film that kind of melds the two and understands that it's a film and it can't just do giant big over the top things, but it also has deep rooted theater roots. So kind of
Yeah.
calling back to those is really interesting.
Yeah, and especially like Japanese films, especially in these earlier days, it's kind of wavering a little bit off now, but not as much as you'd think. Is a little bit more over top, at least in American from our American sensibilities of like over the top acting.
Yeah.
But it works. And,
Oh, yeah.
But if it was an American movie, then you're like, that's unrealistic.
Which I mean
But-
is what we were talking
which
about
is
earlier.
cultural.
The epic too is kind of the epic is very flowery and over the top, and that's kind of just, especially because you know
Yeah.
from Greek roots and Greeks being that sort of.
Perhaps for the
The-
color,
the-
that kind of leads into the floweriness of it, in
Yeah.
a literal sense. But okay, let me check if there's any other little
Sure.
clues. But really, yeah, hold on. So the okay. So after watching the movie, what do you think Akira Kurosawa is saying about like the state of humanity? In that we touched on it with Fate, but then but another sort of thread of a lot of Japanese storytelling is man's relationship with nature and then man's relationship with man.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think Kurosawa balances that, or his answer for that in this film?
Yeah. I think one of the to talk about Shakespeare for a second, he also has a lot to do with like nature versus like society or like culture, which is a lot of it's really interesting and it's throughout all his plays. But one of the things that is especially prominent in the tragedies is when the ruler of a country is depraved and sick, the country itself is rotten. And so in that way, like you were saying with the grain, the land becomes a character, and it's a character that needs saving, and needs a disease taken out of it in order to get that. This one in particular is, I think, kind of deviating from that sort of trend of Shakespeare's, because most of the time in a Shakespearean tragedy, you'll get the problem, the source of the problem taken out, and then a better ruler taking the place. Then the land is fixed and all this, that, and the other thing. And in Ron, there's it's a little tricky. But so there's that kind of nature of like the actual like forest and like the trees and everything like that. Which even in like Shakespearean comedies, it's like if something's wrong in the court, you leave and you go to the woods and you make it right in order to re-enter the court. And you get that in like Midsummer and As You Like It and stuff like that. But there's also there's that kind of nature, but there's also the like human nature, and that has a lot to do with because we define ourselves through relationships, so that has a lot to do with a lot of different relationships, and in King Lear especially, it has a lot to do with with King Lear it's father-daughter, but here it would be father-son, and while changing in a lot of ways that we may or may not get to, changing the daughters to sons changes so much about this play and the dynamic. It also still hits on this like this obligation between the two, and so there's kind of this like there's a broken like natural bond there, and it was really interesting to me that when I first read King Lear, my first instinct was to like point at Lear's faults and be like, okay, well, you just said, like, you just sat there and went, flatter me, and I may give you my kingdom, but not give up my title. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's dumb and stupid, and you're acting irrationally. And there's lots of that here, and it points out a lot of it, but I was much more immediately upset at the sons in Ron. And maybe I kind of know where it's going at this point. But King Lear, it was really interesting because it sets up this character is doing something wrong, and then we see how his daughters react to that. Whereas in Ron, it's very interesting because it's this king who's very regal and does this thing that's a little weird, but he didn't ask them to flatter him or anything, so it's a little more on his side. He has the right to give up his kingdom to his eldest son. But it's interesting seeing you see the sons like take their turn, and like you were saying with the colors, like they're all very different. But it's really interesting to see like how each of their personalities has been shaped by the way that their father raised them, because they set him up as this character who is ruthless and requires obedience and not affection, and like that's not a way to raise children. Like you can imagine the kind of father he was when they were children, and it's just this kind of like ignoring you when you're not useful, abusing you when you are, like beating you into submission, and then being affectionate when he feels like it. And then you see how his sons act from there, with that broken natural bond already. And you get this eldest son who immediately turns his back on his father and does the very same thing to him and is like, I'm in charge of you. And it's like, I don't really care that there's this bond here that I have an obligation to. And then you have the second one who pretends to be filling that obligation, but sneakily goes behind his back and blames it on his brother and does it in a really conniving way. So you get kind of like the red and the yellow, or swamp, or however it is. And then you get this son who, despite that natural bond being broken on his father's side, he still fulfills his own obligation for that, which ties back into the fate conversation of like each of these sons. Like you can make a generational natural fate argument too, of like, well, it's not their fault, their father raised them to be like this. And while that's true, and that's a lot of the reason that they're like this, it's like all they've ever known, there's also like a foil of that. There's a son who's proved that wrong. And so he fulfills his natural obligation. So I don't think that's what you were asking for in this question, because I think you were more asking about green stuff, but I think that's the nature that I noticed was more in the familial and generational relationships.
I get that. Yeah. Okay. So some lighting difficulties because I guess it's late enough and that's when the lamp turns off. But that's fine.
He likes to.
But you were talking about more of like the internal sort of nature and whatnot, and now I'm gonna go and more like the literary sort of, the literary sort of, not storytelling, but like, well, yes, but like literary way of going about it. And now I guess I don't know, but segue
You're good.
into how they do that with the camera work.
Okay. Yeah.
And what I was kind of interested in is I know that Kurosawa can do fight scenes. He can do big, giant set pieces of these giant armies fighting against each other. But for the first time, at least to me, I might need to go through some of his samurai works again. But for the first time, to me at least, it feels like this is the first time that he isn't glorifying it, or the point of like these giant fights isn't like, oh, this is a great battle or whatnot, and just like the spectacle of it, but more like how tragic it is. So typically in really any fight scene, you would have like the grunts and like the fighting, and maybe you would have the swelling music and whatnot. That's triumphant, but in this, it's pretty much silent.
Yeah.
There's some there's some music. It's not triumphant. It's sorrowful.
Yep.
And how he had everything so wide in it that you could see the whole scope of it, but not to revel in like, oh my word, this is really cool, but like how tragic it is. And I thought that was really fascinating. But then also the use of red, both on the flags of the second. I'm tent poling. I'm putting my flag in the sand. I think it's the second son. We need to look, but with the red flags,
Sure.
and then a rocky, desolate background, because this isn't where the forests are. The castle is not necessarily industrial, but in this time period, it's industrial.
Yeah.
It's gray. It's kind of in a desolate, rocky place, and you have the pop of color of reds. Basically, that's really the only pop of color of red from the betraying flag from fire.
Color.
It's red.
Not pop of color. I was thinking pop of color.
Pop.
Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
But the main contrast of like this desolate land is red from fire, from a treacherous sun. I don't know what. I think I know what sun it is, but from a treacherous sun, and then also blood. And this is by far
So much blood.
There was a lot of blood, and it reminded me a lot. Actually, this was I think it was the bloodiest Kurosawa movie I've seen, and I think it probably is the most. There are a few scenes that kind of reminded me of Tarantino's Kill Bill a little bit, of just like the amount of blood. Not that much, but like the same sort of physics and whatnot. We don't need to go into blood physics, but red, but like red of like really just symbolizing like the destruction, of treachery, of really just of a form of just like of treachery. And we can go on to the treachery of just like the son with the father, and then an emphasis of that with the flame of like destroying this sort of great thing that the father's done, or what the past has done, or the treachery of like killing all these people and like it's blood and whatnot, and it's sad. But then also, I would say that it's also a treachery against like at least in the perspective of Ron, and Kira Kurosawa's view of this, of the red being not just a treachery of like a familiar sort of dispute, but of nature, and a treachery against like what man's relationship with nature is, and which was I thought was was fascinating, but although it's a tragedy, and it's a tragedy in every sense of the word. All the people that I bet anybody would like in this movie, they have horrible endings, or just death. I mean, that's horrible and all, but like some are more rough. Like the blind guy, that was rough. That was a rough ending. And but even though that is a tragedy, I feel like Kurosawa still has a little kernel of hope with the burned castle, and that you have this desolate thing that like from the sin of this father, and but yet this is the one of the only places that both nature is intersected with man and like growing and life, and not just like grass but like flowers are blooming. So it's although it is a tragedy, I feel like it still has tinges of hope, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that from this. But yeah, it's Akira Kurosawa. It's one of Akira Kurosawa's best. It's one of his later works, but yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Now, I'm kind of dabbling with a few different questions and whatnot, or categories that you got me bringing to each of our different like reviews or whoever I'm interviewing or whatnot. But one of which is this little idea. I don't know if I'll go with it, but let's try on this shoe of an idea. But I had this idea of do you know the Library of Alexandria?
Yeah.
Okay, and it burned down, and
So they say.
so they say, and like this great wealth of knowledge is destroyed.
Yeah.
So movies weren't made back then, obviously.
Sure.
Obviously. So I call this kind of like the Library of Alexandria project of, is this a movie that you just have a moment of time, and you're able to run in there, the fires are burning. Is this one of the movies, maybe in the short time that you have, that you would run in and grab, and because it's an important piece of like not literature, I guess, but of film and of storytelling. Excluding if there's any books, it's a library of movies. Let's go with that. Just simple.
No books.
No books. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna be annoying about this question because
please do. Yeah.
how many movies can I pick though?
You have like.
Because if it's like you only get one movie, I don't think this would be the movie. But if it's like you pick like 20 movies,
let's say that you could probably pick.
If they're all on the same shelf, you could probably get like a good 50.
Yeah. Let's say about 10 movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
may not be your favorite, but like
for
the sheer artistry of it or craftsmanship, or really for just the storytelling of it.
Yeah.
Is this one of those 20 films or 10 films?
Part of me thinks this is maybe a dumb way of answering this question, but it's the kind of movie that might be in that list, but I don't think that I would personally grab it, because a part of it is because it is I don't know, it's not an adaptation, but it's drawn on from something else, and while it has a different cultural background that does make it it's a very distinct and something, I think that it like King Lear so far outshadows it that it's like, as far as like cultural impact,
I get you.
that it's like, and I think a lot of other movies do as well, that it's like, but as far as like pure, yeah, I think that's the only thing that's making me like put it lower on the list of like pure artistry, what films would you say? But I also can't think of like I wouldn't be
That
able to
makes sense.
prepare
No,
a
no,
list
no,
of
it's a
10
hard-
movies for you.
It's a
you know,
hard deal.
so.
For if you're gonna save one Kurosawa film, and I know that you haven't seen
I've seen
Hold
the
On,
whole two.
but really, like, would you pick this one over Seven Samurai or Seven Samurai over this one?
Ooh, it has been a hot minute since
Fair
I've
enough.
seen Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
As far as like cultural impact, Seven Samurai is the pretty obvious winner.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Just 'cause, like it's made so many. It's been the grandfather of so many movies. So as far as like cultural importance, which I think is a good thought for the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
I think that Seven Samurai would probably win. As far as like, I think it might just be because it's like fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
But as far as like the sheer number of things that it's doing, and like the other part of the Alexandria question being like the how it joins in the great conversation sort of question.
Yeah.
I think that I got more out of this one, but it's been years
Than
since
Seven
I've
Samurai.
seen Seven Samurai.
I see.
And maybe I got more out of Seven Samurai, and I
No.
just was
That makes sense.
watching it on cable television. And
Fair
so,
enough.
I don't remember Seven Samurai well enough to say, and this one's more fresh in the brain, so that's
Yeah.
most likely why I'm saying that. But probably
Yeah.
Seven Samurai.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone watching, which hopefully we'll see how many people that is, but someday,
We'll see.
plenty. But for a recommendation, so
Yeah.
would I recommend it with any sort of caveats on whatnot? Well, it's
You did skip a scene.
we did okay. Well,
so you do.
now we did skip a scene because
It didn't get
the one gal.
crazy before.
There
we
was a
skipped.
gal that was getting a little bit freaky,
Yep.
and a kind of obsession for a moment. But I know.
Let's see it.
I know. But yeah, this gal getting a little bit freaky. But anyways, but on that, it doesn't really show anything. It's just like you can see a little bit of the edge, but like even there's a few scenes that could have gotten really wild, but they didn't. It's
The eye contact and that was fun.
yeah, the main problem, or the main thing that I can see that people may have a little bit of struggle with is if you have problems with blood, maybe not the movie for you.
It's not the most realistic.
It's not the most realistic.
So,
it's just like
but
red paint.
there is a lot of it.
There's a lot.
But it's pretty catchy.
If it's a little bit longer movie, so
That's true.
you just need to prepare for that. Just account for it.
Do it at like 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's probably a wise decision.
Big lunch.
But it's it's a great film, and I think that it ought to be seen at some point. Seven Samurai still is my favorite for personal reasons and I think cultural reasons, but so if you're gonna pick just one Kurosawa movie to watch, I mean, I recommend Seven Samurai. But
Also-
but if you're willing to do a second one and in color,
Yeah.
then this
back
is the
to
one.
back.
Oh,
That's our
God.
challenge to you.
Oh my, do it back to
$20 To the
back.
first person who does those back
Oh
to
my
back.
word! I'm not paying you. I
I don't know. I think they'll find $20.
Yeah. Yeah. But would you recommend it?
Yeah, I definitely would. Part of me while watching it was thinking like it would, and obviously if you've gotten through this whole video, you can't do this, but it would. I think the best viewing experience would be to watch it without knowing it's linked to King Lear at all, and then read King Lear, just to kind of. I think part of my experience was a little bit hampered by like, okay, wait, is this like King Lear? Is this, or just have read King Lear closer to watching it. But
That makes sense.
yeah, I definitely think it's worth watching, and there's a lot there.
Is there any food or beverage that you would pair with this movie?
Oh my.
Yeah. I know we're asking the weird question, but like,
I'd say it is a weird question, but it's
but like,
a good one. I
you
drank
want to
Fanta,
experience the
but
movie.
I don't think that was the
as much as
vibe.
you can. Oh,
Oh, you
Uh,
mean like something that
that you would eat, or like
you mean something that's
recommend that
like
you eat or drink
themed with the movie?
Yes,
Oh,
that's important.
I thought you were
Oh,
like
our
if
sound
this-
sound person has an idea. Gushers.
Gushers is crazy.
Gushers is crazy.
Gushers is wild. For two reasons, because men weep and because blood. No, no, but I thought you were meaning like if this movie were a food, what food would it be? But you were meaning like should
What
you
would
eat
you
some
eat?
katsu or
Yes.
something with
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That I can't answer. I was gonna try and be like, well, it's not Fanta. I learned that.
Yeah. I think for a food for this, really, yeah, I haven't really thought of it for this one.
You're gonna run out real quick with this movie, percentage-wise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna run out.
So.
With, yeah, I think just a classic. This is just a
You say popcorn,
yeah, just when you don't have a specific.
just
thing.
because it's a movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
So
now,
Fanta did work.
Now
For
it
those
does.
of you at home who are taking
but
notes.
there is a specific. But this movie does have a specific season that you probably ought to see it in. Really, either the spring summer sort of season, just for the brighter sort of colors and whatnot. But typically, the season that you ought to watch epics in is in the winter.
Wow.
And so why?
Yeah, why?
Because people are stuck inside.
Oh.
Yeah. So so that's typically when people watch like The Lord of the Rings and
Okay,
into-
just
and
because it's
just-
a longer.
yeah,
movie.
it's just longer
Okay.
movies. Like, oh well, we're gonna be inside because the weather's
Sure.
not good, but it's like,
Okay, that makes
I like the
sense.
winter. But so really, those are the two seasons that you probably ought to see it. So like, we may be slightly pushing in the summer, but it's okay. I mean, it's like it's fine. Who cares? But
Nice
I do.
note.
But it's really just like what things that you can do that to like to kind of
Maximize your viewing.
maximize the viewing experience, but like
Sure.
bring you into it a little bit more. So
Yeah.
if it's a specific season that you ought to watch it in,
Well,
just a
it's
recommendation.
set in summer though.
Okay, then never mind. Maybe,
So I don't know.
Maybe it does work. Maybe it does really work.
Sure. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah. I can
either
see
the
you
season-
watching this in any season. There's certain movies that are very
Yeah,
seasonal.
seasonal.
But
Yeah.
I get your winter
Yeah.
point though. It's a long movie.
But yeah, either is there a specific season for this thing to watch or recommended to watch in, or is there a specific food and drink that you're like, oh yeah, this just kind of for Seven Samurai, I always have ramen, but there's not ramen in the movie. I don't know why. It just is that
That's just
something
your
from the
thing.
culture,
Yeah,
I guess. Even though that was ramen invented by Seven Samurai. It doesn't matter, but just like something that like to bring you into like the culture of the movie a bit. And,
Sure. Yeah.
they didn't really eat much
Vibe
in this
it up.
movie.
They
Other
really
than
did
blood.
not. No. Lots of salt, maybe. Go with a salty snack.
Salty snack. That's it. Eat potato
Salty
chips.
gushers, guys.
Salty gushers.
That's what you want. Wrap each
Eat-
one individually.
We
with a bunch
recommend
of
Ran
salt and a little paper
and
towel.
with some salty gushers.
Yep. That's what we recommend. So
Yeah.
listen to us.
Yes.
With
Well,
the internet.
watch it or not, the choice is yours. But we think you ought to at some point.
It's a great outro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And cut. Okay.